Hi, everybody. Welcome to Element 8 of Forgiveness. Today begins this recording begins the second grouping, and we started in the beginning with the world and in that expanded perspective. Now, as we get closer and closer to self, we're going to talk about others and victimhood. So today's element is abuse. And this is one, I think everyone in forgiveness is my favorite, but abuse is the prompt, as the prompt says, there's child abuse, animal, spousal power, position, extortion, and I'm sure the list can go on and on because, as we all know, abuse is relative because we all receive the energy of something through our filter, and if it happens to trigger that sense of abuse, then it gets our attention and we feel abused, which feeds right into that victimhood. But when I did my workbook, which I know we've all already done our workbook because we're in the habit of this now, the things that came to mind for me was the unacceptability when I look at those that I feel are the weaker, like animals and children, and that to me it's the ultimate insult, or the ultimate abuse is taking advantage of those that are the weak or innocent. That's another word that came to me that I wrote down, and that I find it very sickening. It's just such an injustice in my mind. And the feeling of manipulation, like for instance, in circumstances with a job, new to a job, or being subordinate in a job, and the abuse of power that can take place. And again, all of this supposes a hierarchy in there, whether it's the power and powerless, or I don't want to use the word smart, but what's the opposite of innocent? Guilty. So it's that duality play in there, and what happens in there. But I think one of the keys to talk about here, and the purpose of the course, is to bring it around to why I would need forgiveness in this area. So what I like to think about is, where have I been abusing myself? Where have I allowed myself to be manipulated, allowed myself to take a subordinate role, or allowed myself to receive less than I felt I was worthy of, or sacrificed myself for? And so where have I treated myself unacceptably? And I mean, that is, if you really start to think about that, there's a lot you can come up with. And I can feel that right through here. Makes my stomach not feel so great right now. And as we progress through these elements, and actually all of the courses in Wonderland, that level of unacceptability is going to change. And so one of the beauties in being able to repeat these is you can keep coming back and revisiting as that level changes. Because what I found unacceptable 2 years ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 days ago is different than what I feel right in this moment. So this all comes back around to, what am I showing myself in the reflection of this animal abuse, or this child abuse, or any of the abuses that I've mentioned? Why do I need to have that mirrored back to me? Because that's telling me that there's some abuse taking on within myself, and I want to take responsibility for that. So the first step in that taking responsibility is to get to that level of forgiveness, because as we've talked about, it's a cycle. And in order for us to engage in that cycle, we begin with that apology. So in the second part of my notes, I have, and the feelings that are invoked is the anger that stems from all this. And that anger is something to pay attention to, because that anger, even though you believe it's directed at a set of circumstances and things that are going on, it's really aimed right here. It's aimed at yourself. And that unless we get to that place of forgiveness and the whole thing, you'll never be able to get to that relief from the anger that you feel towards yourself. Another thing I've written is that it makes me want to retaliate. It makes me want to pay back. And that takes me to a place where I normally don't go, which, another course that we have is the shadow self. And that invokes that shadow version of yourself, is when you feel like you need to retaliate. So if we turn this around and look at where abuse shows us a need or a place where we can allow forgiveness, it's in these areas of, where have I given up my power? Where have I abused myself? Where have I believed that I'm weak and I'm innocent and been taken advantage of? And because I did that, not that that was wrong, it created the perfect opportunity for me to experience abuse, so that then I can have that full circle apology, forgiveness, coming all the way back to gratitude. Gratitude for that set of circumstances, whether we label it abuse or not, to bring me to this place right here, right now. So in all of that conversation, let's read our clearing statement. I experience and accept all abuse for what it has been, past, present, and future, for what it is and has been in the bigger picture. It is with apology, forgiveness, and love that I have gratitude for the lessons that are now complete in singularity within themselves, all of us, and myself. So that really covers all the bases. So let's sit back and make ourselves comfortable and close our eyes. Step into wholeness, open our hearts, and connect to that vibration of the statement that I just read, and allow us to live within that vibration. All right. That was nice. Take another deep breath. Okay. What I saw was like at a collective level that there's like this overlay on the earth, and that as we all come to that place of forgiveness, that overlay just gets lifted, and it essentially removes abuse from this earth experience. So I'll take it for myself right now. Post video affirmation. I apologize to, forgive, accept, nurture, and have gratitude for the lessons and consciousness created by abuse, past, present, and future, that are now complete. So that was nice. And again, as you're guided, please feel free to repeat this, and as many times as you're guided to. Thanks for joining, and we will see you on the next element. Bye-bye.